from the government and private sector. May I humbly request the Honourable Minister, through a collective societal approach, to ensure that considerations are given to strengthen our mitigation targets and strategies.
Definitely, sir. I can reassure my good friend that we are working in that direction with all the different stakeholders, even with the Minister of Finance especially, and we'll definitely go into that direction.
Just one. May I ask the Honourable Minister, with regards to all the climate change challenges ahead, whether government is contemplating to include Rhodes representatives in the national delegation for COP30 in Brazil in November next?
Should be normal. Rodriguez has special attention in our heart, as we all know. So we are preparing all the process of participation. There is even a meeting chaired by the Deputy Prime Minister, and definitely when we'll have to fix with regards to the delegation, our position. So we'll take into consideration Rodriguez, depending normally on financial.
Honourable members, the table has been advised that the following PQs have been withdrawn: B295, B296, B299, B336, B348, B331, B341, B347. Honourable members, I have to inform the House that the Honourable Minister of Land Transport has made a request for PQs B297, B298, and B307 be taken out of turn, as is taken up in a courtesy call with Mr. Jean Todt, UN Secretary's Envoy for Road Safety. I have exceptionally acceded to his request. So now we proceed with B297, the second member for Belways and Cadbourne. Oh, Mr. Allen, sorry. So B298. Same again. B230. Not here. B301. B300. What? You're here?
Merci beaucoup, Mr. Deputy Speaker, sir. Question B300, please.
Deputy Speaker, sir, this concerns the Public Service Excellence Award. With regard to Part A of the question, I wish to inform the House that the Public Service Excellence Award was introduced in October 2006 with the following objectives. A, recognizing and rewarding innovative efforts of ministries, departments, and their respective divisions or units. B, encouraging innovation and excellence in public service delivery. And C, promoting a performance-oriented, customer-centric, accountable, and environmentally conscious public service. As regards to Part B of the question, Deputy Speaker, sir, I am informed that the PSEA, Public Service Excellence Award, was opened only to ministries and departments and the respective divisions, units when the competition was launched. However, with a view to providing equal opportunities to all public institutions to compete on a level playing field, in 2021, the PSEA framework was reviewed, and the scope of participation was broadened with the creation of 3 distinct categories of awards, namely ministries and departments, disciplined forces, and local authorities. Furthermore, in 2023, parastatal bodies were also included as a separate category. Deputy Speaker, sir, with regard to Part C of the question, it is to be pointed out that the Rodrigues Regional Assembly is structured around different commissions, and as such, Rodrigues has its own specificity. Accordingly, it is considered that it would be more appropriate and advisable for the Rodrigues Regional Assembly to organize similar competitions among the different commissions at its own level. Of course, my ministry will extend all necessary support and guidance to the Rodrigues Regional Assembly in that endeavor.
Thank you. Next question. Third member for Pamplemousses and Triol.
Mr. Deputy Speaker, sir, question B301.
Mr. Deputy Speaker, the reply being a lengthy one, I'm going to table the reply.
Thank you. The third member for Virapo and Rosebell.
Deputy Speaker, sir, PQ B302, please.
Thank you, Mr. Deputy Speaker. I thank the honourable member for his question, and with regards to the families living on state lands along the southeastern coastal area, I presume that the honourable member is referring to squatters occupying state land in the regions of Grand Port district. I am informed that my ministry has, at date, granted approximately 970 building site leases within the Grand Port district, spanning from Pointe-au-Feuille to Mayberg. As per the current policy, pre-July 2015 squatters are considered for regularization subject to their eligibility, availability, and suitability of the concerned sites. On the other hand, post-July 2015 squatters are examined on a case-to-case basis. A cut-off line obviously has to be drawn somewhere, otherwise we would be opening the floodgates. I am informed that following a survey conducted by officers of my ministry, there are some 20 squatters occupying state land in the regions of Ange-Jonché, Old Grand Port, Rivière-la-Chaux, Caen-Carole, and Rosebell. Out of these 20 squatters, 3 are pre-July 2015, located in the regions of Rivière-la-Chaux, and 1 at Grand Sable. In addition, there are 16 post-July 2015 squatters, out of which 14 are located at Rivière-la-Chaux and 1 in the region of Old Grand Port and Ange-Jonché, respectively. Our government indeed recognizes the need to provide all families living in difficult situations with a secure and stable living condition. Therefore, as a rule of thumb, not specific to this case or those cases, but as a rule of thumb, the squatters may be considered for regularization on a case-to-case basis through the following measures. Number 1, granting of a building site lease in situ, subject to planning clearance, so that these families may lead a decent life. 2, relocating the squatters to other suitable sites where essential amenities are available. And 3, referring those cases to the NHDC to explore the possibility of providing them with a housing unit depending on their specific circumstances. But let me add, Mr. Deputy Speaker, sir, that we should be very careful to understand that there are many people on the waiting list for social housing in Mauritius, more than 50,000, and as such, we are not a government who will encourage squatters while recognizing the need for houses. That is why I always like to put forward the need for all those who are living in a squatting condition, for them to register with the National Housing Development Corporation, but remembering that we have to give priority to those who have registered first, date-wise. very important indeed. Thank you.
The second member for Warwick.
Yes, thank you. B303.
Deputy Speaker, sir, may I please, first and foremost, thank the Honourable Second Member of Rodrigues for his question. Deputy Speaker, sir, I'm informed that there is a total of 36 Rodriguan public officers who have requested for the transfer to the establishment to the Rodrigues Regional Assembly. And they are as follows. There are 10 prison officers or senior prison officers, including 3 women prison officers or senior prison officers in the Mauritius Prison Service. B, 13 firefighters in the Mauritius Fire and Rescue Service. And C, 2 nursing officers and 1 temporary attendant, hospital services in the Ministry of Health and Wellness. Mr. Speaker, sir, following the setting up of the Rodrigues Regional Assembly in 2001, district establishments were set up in respect of posts under the Mauritian establishment and that of the Rodrigues Regional Assembly in the Civil Establishment Order, Mauritius and Civil Establishment Order, Rodrigues respectively. Whilst the posts on the Rodrigues Regional Assembly are restricted to Rodriguan candidates, posts on the Mauritian establishment are open to both Mauritian and Rodriguan candidates. Accordingly, the 26 Rodriguan officers in the Mauritius Prison Service, the Mauritius Fire and Rescue Service, and the Ministry of Health and Wellness were appointed by the Disciplined Forces Service Commission and the Public Service Commission, respectively, to serve in the posts on the Mauritian establishment. Section 71 of the Rodrigues Regional Assembly Act provides that, and I quote, a public officer may, with approval of the Appropriate Service Commission, be transferred to the establishment of the Regional Assembly, and such transfer shall be on such terms and conditions of service as are acceptable to the Appropriate Service Commission, the Regional Assembly, and the person transferred. End of quote. Deputy Speaker, sir, the Disciplined Forces Service Commission regulations and the Public Service Commission regulations do not provide for the permanent transfer of officers from the Mauritian establishment to the Rodrigues Regional Assembly. I am informed, in the case of the 3 officers on the establishment of the Ministry of Health and Wellness, the PSC, Public Service Commission, had already informed the officers that their requests cannot be considered under the existing provisions of its regulations. As regards the requests for permanent transfer to the Rodrigues Regional Assembly from the Rodriguan officers of the Mauritian Prison Service and Mauritius Fire and Rescue Service, protracted discussions have been held between these 2 commissions and departments, and advice has been sought from the AG on the matter. Deputy Speaker, sir, in the light of the legal advice obtained and in view of the complexity and sensitivity of the issue, which requires more in-depth discussions with all stakeholders and subsequent amendments which need to be brought to existing legislations, including amending the Rodrigues Regional Assembly Act, which is in accordance of Section 75E of the Constitution, the matter is still under consideration. Finally, Deputy Speaker, sir, pending a policy decision on the matter, Rodriguan public officers on the Mauritian establishment who are willing to serve in Rodrigues have the option to apply for and undergo the selection service for appointment as prison officers, senior prison officers, women prison officers, or women prison officers for firefighter or firefighter establishment of the Rodrigues Regional Assembly, as and when vacancies are advertised.
Thank you, Minister. The Honourable Third Member for Flack and Bunacay.
Mr. Deputy Speaker, sir, B304.
Mr. Deputy Speaker, sir, Maurice Stratégie was initially set up as a special purpose vehicle under the Economic Development Board. On 14 March 2023, it was incorporated under the Companies Act 2001 as a private limited company wholly owned by the EDB in accordance with Section 52C of the EDB Act 2017. The EDB and Maurice Stratégie signed a framework agreement on 4 May 2023 for the effective setting up of Maurice Stratégie. A secondment agreement was signed by the parties on the same date for the provision of staff from the EDB to handle the core activities of Maurice Stratégie. Subsequently, the Maurice Stratégie Board Act 2024 established Maurice Stratégie as a body corporate to serve as a central research and planning bureau for Mauritius. The Act was assented and gazetted on 31st July 2024 and came into force as from 16 August 2024. According to Section 5 of the Maurice Stratégie Board Act 2024, the function of the Maurice Stratégie are to, firstly, conduct prospective work and inform public bodies about the possible medium and long-term strategic plans that are contemplated for Mauritius, undertake strategic studies to inform the government of the actions required for the purpose of the preparation of reform, in particular through an analysis of the context of the decision and its foreseeable impact in the short term and medium term, participate in the evaluation of government policies, serve as a resource center for the identification, organization, and evaluation of public consultations and debates, and finally, identify and publicize the experiences carried out abroad that may enrich reflection on such reforms as may be useful to Mauritius and the ways and means of carrying them out. I'm also informed that the board of Maurice Stratégie, Mr. Deputy Speaker, which met on 2 occasions, is composed of the Financial Secretary as chairman, a representative of the Prime Minister's Office, every Deputy Financial Secretary of the Ministry of Finance, the CEO of EDB or his representative, the Director of Statistics Mauritius, a representative of the Bank of Mauritius, a representative of the MRA, a representative of the private sector, and a representative of academia. Mr. Deputy Speaker, I am informed that the Maurice Stratégie has been working on various projects and reports, including securing technical support from the Agence Française de Développement and Expertise France, whereby a resident expert is currently supporting Maurice Stratégie. In this context, 2 short-term assistant missions are also being financed through the AFD and Expertise France. The Maurice Stratégie has conducted economic research and analysis, such as sectoral insights for Mauritius, economic review and outlook 2025, and has published a paper on unlocking Mauritian trade, a situational analysis and opportunity assessment, volume 1. As regard part B of the question, Mr. Deputy Speaker, sir, Maurice Stratégie has employed 28 staff members. Following the signature of the agreement between EDB and Maurice Stratégie on 4 May 2023 for the provision of staff to handle the core activities of the institution, 9 staff comprising 7 technical staff from the Strategic Planning Directorate and 2 messenger drivers were seconded from the EDB. And following the enactment of the Maurice Stratégie Board Act, out of the 9 seconded staff, 8 officers who were employed under permanent and pensionable establishment of the EDB opted to be transferred to Maurice Stratégie as from 1st July 2023 on the same terms and conditions governing human resources matters at the level of EDB in accordance with Section 24(1) of the Act. The head of department of the Strategic Planning Directorate of EDB who was employed on a contractual basis since September 2015, was seconded as officer in charge to Maurice Stratégie on 1st July 2023. Following the institutionalization of Maurice Stratégie, the officer was appointed executive director on a contractual basis for a period of 3 years with effect from 9 September 2024. Furthermore, one staff who has been seconded from the Ministry of Finance through the enactment is currently employed as lead research analyst at Maurice Stratégie from 19 September 2024. In September 2024, Mr. Deputy Speaker, sir, Maurice Stratégie called for application from suitable candidates to join its team. Subsequently, on 3rd October 2024, an offer of employment was made to the following: 6 researchers, 2 senior analysts, 5 analysts, 3 officers, and 2 secretaries. Thank you.
Now that the Honorable Minister of Land and Transport is in the House, so we'll go back to PQ 297. Honorable Stéphane.
B 297, merci.
Thank you, Deputy Speaker, sir, for the arrangements made. I am informed that Crucial Avenue is over a stretch of 1 kilometer from Jawaharlal Nehru Road, commonly known as Chemin Bassin, to Palma Road, Catobol. The width of Crucial Avenue varies approximately between 3.5 meters to 5 meters. Part of Crucial Avenue, where the road width is approximately 3.5 meters wide, is already a one-way traffic. That is from its junction with Chemin Machine up to its junction with Palma Road, the B2 road. Mr. Deputy Speaker, sir, given that the width of Crucial Avenue is less than 5.5 meters wide, centerline markings cannot be provided, too narrow, for 2 lanes. Similarly, edge markings cannot be implemented as this will reduce the effective width of the traffic lane. Mr. Deputy Speaker, sir, the Honourable Member will surely agree that for such narrow road, where neither centerline nor edges marking can be provided, cat's eyes would not be possible. However, stop lines have been marked at all junctions where the lateral roads connect with Crucial Avenue. Moreover, 40-kilometer speed limit signs have already been provided by the TRMSU since the beginning of the year, 6 February 2025, to warn road users of the prevailing speed limit. The situation is being monitored and additional traffic calming measures or devices will be provided if necessary. Mr. Deputy Speaker, sir, with regard to Part B of the pertinent question, however, the Honourable Member will surely agree that converting a two-way traffic into a one-way traffic road can sometimes be complicated, as it disturbs the traffic flow patterns and dynamics of the whole region. Nevertheless, I can reassure the member that the TRMSU will consider the advisability of converting Crucial Avenue into a one-way traffic after consultations with all the relevant stakeholders, including the Municipal City Council of Catobon and the inhabitants of the locality. Thank you.
Yes, Honorable Martin.
Je vous remercie, Monsieur le Vice-président. Would the Minister inform the House whether he is aware of the numerous of accidents and complaints from the residents of that prompt these considerations?
We do get information every now and then, but after the Honourable Member has asked the question, and I think the inhabitants must be thankful to her, we are paying particular attention to the region now, and would, like I said in my original reply, consider the possibility of converting into a one-way traffic.
Okay, the Honourable Third Member for Countability and Local.
Thank you, Mr. Deputy Speaker, sir. B298.
Mr. Deputy Speaker, sir, I wish to inform the House that the village of Saint-Pierre, like many other villages, has seen a lot of developments taking place along roadsides, with buildings abutting the road network. As a result, Mr. Deputy Speaker, sir, traffic congestion is a dire reality, and remedial actions thereto are limited in as much as there is not enough space available to undertake any capacity-enhancing measures. because of the developments that have occurred there, fast developments that have occurred there, insofar as road infrastructure are concerned. Specifically, it is not possible to introduce additional traffic lanes, no a turning filter lane at junctions due to the already heavy built-up environment. Mr. Deputy Speaker, sir, with regard to part A of the question, I am informed by the TRMSU that due to the prevailing situation limiting the traffic mitigating actions, no specific engineering survey has been carried out. Moreover, the causal factors contributing to traffic congestion were well known, namely narrow roads, high vehicular movement, and roadside parking. Mr. Deputy Speaker, sir, as regards to part B of the question, the TRMSU is proposing to carry out the following to alleviate the problem. Number one, a traffic count survey with a view to optimizing traffic lights at signalized junction, thus reducing waiting times. Number two, implementing parking restrictions along certain roads in the village in consultation with the Mocha District Council. Number three, stringent enforcement by the police and the NLTA for parking violations. And number four, promoting the use of public transportation. Mr. Deputy Speaker, sir, although the scope for physical road upgrades is extremely limited in Saint-Pierre, like I mentioned earlier, due to its heavy built-up environment, my ministry remains committed to implementing operational, regulatory and planning measures in collaboration with relevant stakeholders in order to improve the overall traffic condition and commuting experience in the village. Thank you.
You have a supplementary question?
Would the Honourable Minister would consider to meet some even private landowners just around the traffic center to have meeting with them to secure some spaces to relocate the traffic center, please?
Yes, if that can facilitate, I think with the relevant authorities concerned, I will be willing to meet up to see how going forward we can alleviate the situation. But that does not depend only on my ministry. I think several other ministries and departments will have to be consulted for that purpose.
The Honourable Third Member for Portrush South, Portrush Central.
B305, please.
Mr. Deputy Speaker, sir. The former Immaculée Conception School is found over a plot of state land of an extent of about 93 perches, over which stands a ground plus one concrete building. The then Ministry of Education, Tertiary Education, Science and Technology informed the then Ministry of Housing and Land Use Planning on the 1st of December 2021 that the former Immaculée Conception School is no longer being used for educational purposes since 2017. If I may add, in fact, when I perused the letter that was sent to the senior chief executive of my ministry on the 1st of December 2021, in one of the paragraphs of that letter, Mr. Deputy Speaker, sir, I can read and I quote, "In light of the above, and given that the site is no longer being used by the ministry since 2017, it would be appreciated if your ministry can take back control of the land and ensure necessary and appropriate measures be taken accordingly." Nothing was done ever since 2021. To make it worse, nothing was done ever since 2017. So for all those years, this school was left in totally abandoned state. The classrooms clearly are being used by people dealing in things which are totally unlawful. There's rubbish, overgrown grass. It's totally insalubre. And this is in the middle of the capital city of Portrush. So I wonder, Mr. Deputy Speaker, sir, why is it that the then Honourable Minister of Housing and Land, when he, if I'm not mistaken, very close to where they had shown some interest to obtain some land. So how is it that he seems to be unaware, at least in those days, of anything going on with any state land in that particular region? So he said, but I don't believe. So nothing was done. The building once housed the former Immaculée Conception School, as I said, haven for illegal activities. Now, there are two options available. One, to inform the Ministry of Local Government through the City Council of Port-Louis to initiate cleaning of the site, and then under Section 128 and 129 of the Local Government Act to make provision for shoring up and securing the building. But there is another option, and the other option is to retrieve the land altogether. This was what was requested for ever since 2021. And so many years later on, whilst the others were asleep at the helm, now we are not asleep at the helm, and we will do what needs to be done. 93 perches in the middle of the capital, and when we were looking for land, the elected members of that constituency, all of them have been looking for land in order to put up projects. There we go. Land is available and was sleeping there, and the former government did not bother. So I thank the honourable member for that question. I'm given instructions already to the senior chief executive of my ministry to retrieve, to take it back, and then I shall consult with our honourable members from constituency number 2 in order to find out, together with themselves and other future soon-to-be elected members of the Alliance of the Municipal Council, to decide on the proper way forward to make use of that prime property. I'd like to thank the honourable member once again for having put that question, because that question brought me to a document that shows back in 1962. And if I'm not mistaken, it could be that it was Mohammed, the first Minister of Housing and Land in our family, who was the one who gave the lease for that school. So it's quite an interesting matter with history that I'm dealing with it today in order to give it back its letter of de gloire. Thank you very much.
One supplement.
Thank you, Mr. Deputy Speaker. This property, this premises is in its extreme derelict state, lying in the city of Port-Louis. May I ask the Honourable Minister, as a matter of urgency and a short-term measure, whether he could liaise with the Commissioner of Police to ensure that this premises is not being used as a drug den daily and also harbouring petty criminals on a 24/7 basis at the moment. Just immediate measures for security of the inhabitants living in the surroundings. Thank you.
I thank the honourable member for his concern, and I think that his concerns are totally called for and very legitimate. I must therefore beg leave to table 4 photographs of the site in question that will show exactly the very, very bad state this premises is in. I've already contacted the Commissioner of Police and the officers in order to do the needful. I have been speaking about this problem with my honourable colleague, the Minister of Environment, who has graciously offered his services and his help in order to clean up the site. And I thank him for that. However, I am of the view, and I say it again, that those premises could be used for other projects that in this constituency number 2 has been calling for, but it seems that for the past 10 years, no one was listening. Thank you very much.
Yes, next question, the Honourable Third Member for Mayberg and Palmayo.
B306, please.
Thank you very much, Honourable Member. Mr. Deputy Speaker, the sheltered farming project at Plaine Magnan is a resounding failure of the previous government. Phase 1 of the project was meant for young, unemployed graduates to gain skills and experience in entrepreneurship in the agricultural sector. The project was launched in April 2018 with the setting up of 10 net houses of 2,000 square meters each and equipped with electrically powered irrigation system costing a sum of around 15 million rupees. These net houses were located to trainees who had followed training in basic sheltered farming system. However, one of them withdrew from the program and the net house was reallocated to Food and Agricultural and Research Extension Institute, which is running a demonstration center thereat. I'm informed that no lease agreement has been signed with the trainees in respect of their allocated net houses and that no rent has been paid. With your permission, Mr. Deputy Speaker, I'm tabling the list of beneficiaries under this project. I'm informed that at present, only 2 beneficiaries active on sites besides Food and Agricultural Research Extension Institute. The remaining ones have abandoned the site due to inter alia problems associated with bedrocks on the plots that were located, damage to netting systems, occasioning entry of birds and pests, and inadequate monitoring and follow-up by FARI. Mr. Deputy Speaker, Phase 2 of the sheltered farming park at Plaine Magnan, comprising 20 net houses of approximately 2,000 square meters each, was completed in November 2020 for an amount of 36.8 million rupees. None of the units has been allocated since 2020 due to the non-availability of water and electricity, clearly demonstrating poor management and lack of overall coordination of the project, where more than 50 million rupees of taxpayers' money had already been invested. Over the years, Mr. Deputy Speaker, the unoccupied net houses under both phases have reached a deplorable state. While vegetation has grown within the net houses and the surrounding areas, the nets and drip lines have been damaged and accessories and fittings have been stolen from the pump houses. I'm advised that the cost of rehabilitation of one net house is estimated at around 600,000 rupees. This sum excludes the cost of supplying water from the borehole to the net house. An amount of 5 million has been made available in the budget for current financial year for the rehabilitation of net houses at Villebag and Plaine Magnan, but this amount obviously is insufficient to rehabilitate both phases of the project at Plaine Magnan. Mr. Deputy Speaker, it is clear that this project has been plagued by serious shortcomings and serious negligence. Out of the 30 net houses, only 3 are being currently operated, and none of the 20 net houses of the second phase has ever been allocated to date. Considering that the shift from open field to sheltered farming is one of the means of improving production capacity in the face of adverse impact of climate change, the project needs to be revisited. I have given firm instruction to the Senior Chief Executive and Food and Agricultural Research Extension Institute to review the sheltered farming project.
Okay, next question. The Honourable Third Member for Montagne Blanche and Grandier South East.
Mr. Deputy Speaker, sir, B307.
Mr. Deputy Speaker, sir, I am informed by the Road Development Authority that along the road from Melrose to Deep River, classified road network, I'm informed, there are 44 covered bus stops and around 12 bus stops which are covered. With regard to the covered bus stops, 15 of these constitute of iron sheets, which require some uplifting. I am also informed that the RDA will accordingly proceed with painting and repair works thereat. Mr. Deputy Speaker, sir, I am also informed by the TRMSU that following a survey carried out, it has been observed that 6 bus stops from Sevastopol to Deep River have to be upgraded. Inasmuch as the Traffic Management and Road Safety Unit does not currently have a framework to allocate works to a designated contractor, like usually this is the case, because same have expired, a fresh tender exercise is being floated for the contractor to undertake such jobs. The RDA could consider upgrade these bus stops the more so. They are located on classified roads, and it is also if it is deemed to be in the interest of time. Else, once the contractor of the TRMSU has been selected, the TRMSU can undertake the works.
The next question, the Honourable Second Member for Grand-Bay and Poteau.
Deputy Speaker, B308. Monsieur le Vice-président, la CWA m'informe qu'un total de 3,4 km de tuyaux ont été remplacés dans la région de Goodlands dans le cadre de 2 contrats PME. En ce qui concerne la remise en état des routes, je suis également informé que les travaux le long de Telego Temple Road, Piver Avenue et une partie de Triangle Road ont déjà été achevés. Pour le chemin Triangle Road jusqu'à la boutique Perron et Mademoiselle Jeanne, la CWA avait lancé un contrat distinct pour la remise en état de la route. Cependant, comme je l'ai expliqué dans ma réponse à la question 219 lors de notre séance du 25 mars 2025, Monsieur le Vice-président, le coût du projet ayant été dépassé, la CWA ne peut actuellement pas procéder à l'attribution des contrats pour la réfection des routes. Une demande de financement supplémentaire a été déposée au ministère des Finances et cela est en cours d'examen. La CWA a lancé un appel d'offres pour l'exercice 25-26 afin de financer un nouvel appel d'offres pour la remise en état des routes. L'attribution du contrat est prévue pour septembre 2025 et l'achèvement des travaux, on l'espère, est prévu pour octobre 2025.
Deputy Speaker, sir. Will the Honourable Minister implement strict mechanism to prevent similar delays in future projects, particularly in densely populated areas?
We will.
Next question, Honourable Second Member for Gombe. Fotodo. B309.
B309.
Mr. Deputy Speaker, sir, lodging accommodation for foreign migrant workers is governed by the Occupational Safety and Health Act 2005 and the Occupational Safety and Health Employees Lodging Accommodation Regulation 2011. With regard to Part A of the question, I'm informed that the expected time frame for an inspection to be carried out by officers of my ministry upon receipt of an application for lodging accommodation permit is normally 5 working days. However, I am informed that the lodging accommodating permit is usually issued within a month after receipt of the application at the National Occupational Safety and Health Department of my ministry. Mr. Deputy Speaker, sir, it should, however, be noted that when submitting an application for lodging accommodation permit to my ministry, health and fire clearance should accompany the application. And the obtention of those clearances from the Ministry of Health and Wellness and from the Mauritius Fire and Rescue Services may take quite some time, even several months. And the reason for that is very often the accommodation has to be modified physically to meet the requirement of the Ministry of Health and Fire clearances. Now, the Interministerial Committee set up to look into the whole issue of migrant workers is considering how to streamline the process to reduce the time it takes to get the lodging accommodation permit. For the time being, Mr. Deputy Speaker, sir, an applicant wishing to recruit foreign worker needs to get the lodging accommodation permit first and then apply for the work permit. And while he is applying for the work permit, he has to pay the rent sometime for several months. So what is being proposed by the committee now is to have a system of parallel application. So at the same time that an employer will apply for a work permit, at the same time he will apply for a lodging accommodation permit, and then once he receives it, he will be able to do it. We are also consideration is also being given to the possibility of issuing lodging accommodation permit to the owner of a building who will then be able to lease the whole or part of the building to different employers. Mr. Deputy Speaker, sir, concerning Part B of the question, the number of permits which have been granted in constituency number 6, Grand B and Poutredor for the period from 2019 to 2024, including both new and renewed permits, is 229, I am tabling the breakdown of the number of payments issued in constituency number 6 from year 2019 to 2024.
Yes, Honorable Daddy.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Deputy Speaker, sir, can the Honorable Minister inform the House, once such a permit has been provided, how frequent inspections are made and what are the measures taken for non-compliance? Thank you.
Mr. Deputy Speaker, sir, inspections are regularly carried out after a LAP has been issued, either on an ad hoc basis or following a complaint received from either the migrant worker or most often the trade unionists. For example, for the period 2024 to February 2025, 91 follow-up visits were carried out at the employees' lodging accommodation, including joint visits with the Ministry of Health and the Mauritius Fire Services.
Next question.
And what actions are taken for non-compliance?
Well, for the time being, Mr. Deputy Speaker, the Occupational Safety and Health Employees Lodging Accommodation Regulation 2011 makes provision under Regulation 23 for the Enforcement Authority, usually it will be my ministry, to serve an enforcement notice on the employer so that they have a delay to comply with that enforcement notice. If not, then the lodging accommodation permit is revoked and the employer will then have to make alternative provision to accommodate the employers.
Yes, the Honorable Fourth Member for Warwick.
Mr. Deputy Speaker, sir, B310.
Mr. Deputy Speaker, sir, the population will recall that despite the difficult economic situation that we inherited, government introduced in December last year the special allowance 14 months bonus for some 420,200 employees from both the private and public sectors, as well as a 1 month allowance to every pensioner, widow, orphan, and disabled person in Mauritius. The Special Allowance Act 2024 provides for a one-off payment of a special allowance to employees drawing monthly basic salary not exceeding 50,000 rupees or equivalent to 1 month's basic salary. As far as employees who has been in continuous employment for only part of the year, the employee or his legal representative is entitled to special allowance on a pro rata basis in line with Section 3.3 of the Act. Special allowance, Mr. Deputy Speaker, sir, is payable as follows. In 2 equal installments, the first one payable not later than the last working day of December 2024, and the second installment on the last working day of January 2025. Or alternatively, in case there is an agreement between the employer and an employee, the payment can be done in 4 installments, not more than 4 installments. Mr. Deputy Speaker, sir, since the enactment of the Special Allowance Act in December last year, I am informed, as at end of February 2025, 1,503 complaints in relation to non-compliance with the Special Allowance Act were received from employees against 321 employers comprising 291 companies and 30 individual employers. Regarding Part A of the question, the main reason put forward by employers for non-compliance is financial constraints faced by them. Mr. Deputy Speaker, sir, the Act does provide that the Director General of the Mauritius Revenue Authorities can provide financial assistance in connection with the payment of special allowance to qualifying export enterprises, qualifying SMEs, and other employers falling within a category as may be prescribed. And there has been a regulation in February 2025, the income tax financial assistance for payment of special allowance regulations, where the category of eligible companies for refund has been set out, and they include charitable institutions, non-governmental organizations, registered religious bodies, trade unions, enterprises other than export enterprise or SMEs, having a turnover not exceeding 750 million rupees and operating in the following sectors: business process outsourcing, security services, cleaning services, and construction. In addition, Mr. Deputy Speaker, sir, financial support has been extended to enterprises in the transportation sector facing financial difficulties to pay the special allowance. And I have been informed by the MRA that 10,570 eligible employers have employed for the financial assistance, out of which 8,677 employers have submitted a special allowance return 2024. Payments have already been effected to 8,041 compliant employers for a total amount of 1,052,051,539. However, Mr. Deputy Speaker, sir, I have to stress that one of the problems which the eligible employers are facing when making a claim to the MRA is that under the provisions of the law, the employer is required to pay the special allowance and then claim a refund from the MRA. Now, there are a number of employers who are not paying the special allowance and making claims for refund by the MRA, and that is what is causing delay. So even though they may be eligible to get the refund, because they have not paid the special allowance, MRA is not giving them the money back. Now, as regard part B of the question, on 15 January 2025, my ministry received complaints from 12 Indian workers to the effect that they had not been paid the special allowance 2024 by Brilliant Cleaning Services Limited. They had also not been remunerated for November and December and did not receive end-of-year bonus. After the intervention of officers of my ministry, their outstanding salaries have been settled. However, the company is yet to pay them their end-of-year bonus and their special allowance. On 28th of March 2025, the company agreed to pay the outstanding amount in 3 installments on 10th of April, 10th of May, and 10th of June 2025. On 10th March 2025, the Chemin-Grenier Labour Office received a complaint from 16 local employees of Brilliant Cleaning Services Limited, the same company, for non-payments of special allowance. When contacted, the director informed my ministry that payment could not be effected due to acute financial constraint. I am informed by the MRA that although Brilliant Cleaning Services is eligible to apply for the refund through MRA, they have not done so far. Concerning part C of the question, Mr. Deputy Speaker, sir, investigation is ongoing by enforcement officers of my ministry with regards to those cases where special allowance have not been paid when due. As at February 2025, 1,500 out of 1,503 complaints received, only 7 cases were rejected, 41 cases withdrawn by employees, and 151 cases were settled. The settled amount represents a total amount of the settled cases represent a total amount of 2.6 million rupees recovered on behalf of workers after the intervention of officers of my ministry. The remaining cases are still under investigation by my ministry. I wish to highlight that any employer who fails to comply with the provision of the Special Allowance Act shall commit an offence and shall on conviction be liable to a fine not exceeding 5,000 rupees. 91 cases against 6 employers have already been referred to the prosecution unit of my ministry in order for criminal action to be taken against them. But before lodging the information at the industrial court, my ministry has liaised with the Mauritius Revenue Authority to confirm whether these employers are eligible for financial assistance and have received the financial assistance. A reply from the MOA is awaited. Allow me to assure the House and workers of this country that criminal action will be taken against all those employers who are not eligible to financial assistance and who are still not complying with the provisions of the Special Allowance Act. Thank you.
Yes, Honourable Member.
I thank the Honourable Minister for his answer. I would like to ask the Honourable Minister if the refund is related to CSG compliance.
I don't know the mechanism which the MOA is doing, whether he's using the funds of CSG to pay it or otherwise. I'm only informed that the MOA refund all the amount of money that is being paid by qualifying employer under the, as required under the Special Allowance Act and regulations.
Okay, next question, the Honourable Third Member for Public South.
B311, please.
Mr. Deputy Speaker, sir, I wish to inform the House that the number of MRIs and CT scan apparatus available in our public hospitals of 4 and 7 respectively. 3 out of 4 MRIs and 6 out of 7 CT scan apparatus are functional and are being used. With regard to Part B of the question, consultants in charge and radiologists of the radiology department are reporting on MRIs and CT scans on a 24/7 basis for semi-urgent ward and emergency cases. As there are no MRI services at Jawaharlal Nehru Hospital for the time being, the Department of Radiology at the Dr. A.G. G2 Hospital is carrying out the MRI imaging services once per week for cases referred by the Jawaharlal Nehru Hospital. The same radiologists posted at the Dr. A.G. G2 Hospital also carry out MRIs for cases referred by Victoria Hospital after working hours for emergency cases. These arrangements have been put in place to ensure continuous access of MRI services. At the Sir Sivsagar Ramgoolam National Hospital, the CT scans and MRIs are all functional and are all covered under the maintenance and repair contract to ensure optimum performance and minimize breakdowns. In addition, my ministry has initiated procurement for acquisition of MRI and CT scan apparatus for Flag Hospital. Mr. Deputy Speaker, sir, regarding Part C of the question, I wish to inform the House that in view of the increasing number of patients awaiting reporting of the MRI and CT scans, to decide on the way forward for further clinical management, it was decided to refer imaging out to private clinics for reporting. Quotations were invited from private clinics via expression of interest, and clinics proposing the lowest prices were selected for outsourcing of the MRI and CT scan reporting. I am informed that since March 2024, 3 private clinics have been enlisted for referral of reporting in respect of routine, non-urgent cases of MRIs and CT scans done at the level of regional hospitals. I am also informed that the enlisted clinics were remunerated as agreed.
Yes, Honourable.
Thank you, Mr. Deputy Speaker. There has been a contractual agreement that has been happening between the Ministry of Health and private clinics for reporting of CT scan and MRIs. It is very unfortunate, and I have a document at hand, that the people who are reporting these MRI CT scans are not registered, some of them, to the Medical Council of this country, just posing a serious threat when it comes to medical legal issues. B, those who are reporting them are not even on site in Mauritius, thereby depriving the patient the clinical picture, and that is why there has been serious mistakes whereby a woman who has lost her uterus was told she still has one. So I will urge the Honourable Minister to see to it that primary reporting of MRIs and CT scans are done by our local radiologists, and adhere to secondary reporting or second opinion with offsite or radiologists from abroad. Thank you.
Mr. Deputy Speaker, sir, we have a big problem as far as radiologists are concerned. We have got a lack of such radiologists in our country, a big lack in most of the hospitals. And secondly, I'm not aware whether the outsourcing was done from abroad. But I'll look into the issue, and I can promise if I can get the copy of that paper which you have in your with you.
Yes, you have a supplementary on that question.
Thank you, Mr. Deputy Speaker, sir. It is reported that the scan apparatus in road rails is out of order. Will the Honourable Minister look into it, please?
The Honourable First Member for Motai Blanche and
thank you, Mr. Deputy Speaker, sir. B312.
Mr. Deputy Speaker, sir, I'm informed that Pepsi Lane at Ekwaya is an area prone to localized water accumulation during heavy rainfall. The capacity of the existing absorption drain are not enough to capture high volumes of water, thereby causing great inconvenience to pedestrians. Mr. Deputy Speaker, sir, I'm further informed that the National Development Unit had awarded a contract for the construction of an absorption drain at Pepsi Road, Ekwaya, on 8 July 2024 to mitigate the flooding and water accumulation thereat for a contract value of 2.29 million rupees. However, during excavation works, basalt strata was encountered. In order not to put at risk the existing services and causing any infrastructural damages to residential buildings in the surrounding, upon instructions from the NDU, the contractor stopped the works immediately. He was thereafter requested to proceed with the proper backfilling and compaction of the excavated trench and provide for a temporary reinstatement and open the road to traffic. The contract for the absorption drain was eventually terminated. Mr. Deputy Speaker, sir, to tackle the problem of flooding in the region in a holistic manner, I have been advised that a consultant would have to be appointed to carry out a study for the drainage works and relocation of the major CWA services. Bid will accordingly be launched early May 2025. Mr. Deputy Speaker, sir, I'm also informed that the Central Water Authority had excavated 2 pits at Pepsi Road, which will be reinstated by the latter's contractor on 14 April 2025. Mr. Deputy Speaker, sir, with regard to the region of Ramstan, I'm informed that pipe replacement works are actually being carried out along several roads by the Central Water Authority. 4.62 kilometers of permanent reinstatement works have been completed, and as at date, around 1.28 kilometers is outstanding at Dominic Road, Kalimai Road number 1, Shiwala Road, and Kalipa Road. It is expected that the remaining reinstatement works will be undertaken by the Central Water Authority's contractor as from next week and would be completed in 1 week's time.
The Honourable Second Member for Savannah-Guelmo.
Mr. Deputy Speaker, sir, please B313.
Mr. Deputy Speaker, sir, I'm informed that in constituency number 14, Savane-Ribiennois, there is one area health center which is located at Chemin-Grien and 8 community health centers which are located in the following villages: Pambouy-Virier, Casse-Moyal, Chamarel, Chamonix, Flic-en-Flac, La Goulette, Tamarin, and Béjicap. All the 9 health facilities are currently operational. Mr. Deputy Speaker, sir, with regard to part B of the question, I'm informed that Béjicap Community Health Center is housed in an old rented building which is facing accessibility and parking issues. Attempts have, however, been made by my ministry since 2017 to relocate the Béjicap Community Health Center to a more appropriate location. All the lands identified within the region for the construction of a new community health center were found to be unsuitable due to the risk of flooding and sloping topography of the grounds. Furthermore, several expressions of interest were launched by the Ministry since April 2016 to rent another facility within BGCAP to house the Community Health Center. However, there were no responsive bidders during all the exercises. I'm also informed a new commercial center is being constructed at BGCAP village, and discussions are ongoing between the private developer and my ministry to look into the possibility of renting a designated space within the building to relocate the Community Health Center. Mr. Deputy Speaker, sir, at the same time, the possibility of requesting the Ministry of Agro-Industry, Food Security, Blue Economy and Fisheries to release the existing fisheries post at BGCAP, which is apparently not being used for the past 8 years, is also being looked into.
Yes, Honorable Awadi.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Deputy Speaker. Will the Minister consider to have a site visit at those community centres, and especially for Cas Royal Community Centre?
Okay, let us say within a week I'll do it.
Next question, the Honorable Third Member for Bobasan Pechitigia.
314.
Mr. Deputy Speaker, sir, I'm informed that there is no specific budget allocated for methadone substitution therapy program as expenses are being incurred on the different items under the budget of my ministry. However, the House may wish to note that the approximate amount spent for the purchase of methadone and other related costs and allowances for the methadone substitution therapy program from 2019 to 2024 as follows. For financial year 2018 and 2019, 40,585,832. For 2019 to 2020, 42,334,842. For 2020 to 2021, 57,593,713. For 2021 to 2022, 46,389,430. For 2022-23, 60,402,179, and for 2023-2024, 57,524,788. With regard to Part B of the question, I'm informed that as at February 2025, there are a total number of 8,851 patients. 8,851 patients receiving the daily doses of methadone in 75 dispensing sites around the island. The number of patients attending the different dispensing points region-wise is being tabled. Mr. Deputy Speaker, sir, with regard to Part C of the question, it's widely accepted that the assessment of recovery from drug addiction is inherently complex, owing to the multifaceted nature of the addiction itself. In essence, the complexity of assessing drug addiction recovery stems from the interplay of individual variability, multidimensional factors, measurement challenges, and the dynamic nature of the recovery process itself. Hence, the exact number of patients who have successfully completed the program cannot be determined.
Yes,
Monsieur le Président, la méthadone, comme tout le monde le sait, est un produit de substitution et qui est devenu malheureusement un produit d'addiction pour de nombreux patients. Donc, l'honorable ministre peut-il dire à la Chambre s'il envisage d'autres types de programmes plus efficaces? Si oui, lesquels?
Mr. Deputy Speaker, sir, in the days to come, we are having a legislation on this particular issue. I would request you to be a bit. We are having this, so you be a bit patient. You will get it.
Donc, probablement, l'honorable ministre est au courant que dans certains pays, il y a le Suboxone qui est privilégié à la méthadone. Donc, de par son potentiel d'abus plus faible et un niveau de dépendance physique aussi plus faible. Donc, s'il est au courant que ce produit existe, est-ce que ce traitement peut être considéré et peut-on savoir quand à peu près compte-t-il venir de l'avant avec ce programme alternatif?
Mr. Deputy Speaker, sir, see, I'm not a medical practitioner. As I have just said, that we are having a new legislation, so please be patient. You will definitely
member
we will have
a-
certain changes.
The new law is coming for first reading today, and next time the honourable member can have an opportunity to address the House on the bill and make any suggestion he wants. So let's proceed with the next question, if you don't mind. Thank you. Honourable members, I've been advised that the following PQs have been withdrawn: B317, B320, B327, B349, B329, B340, B350, and B328. Now we proceed with the next question. Honourable Second Member for Savane, Vivianois.
Mr. Deputy Speaker, sir, please, B315.
Monsieur le Vice-président, la CW m'a informé que le réservoir de service de la Martinière à Suriname a été mis au service en 2016. Suite à la construction d'un nouveau réservoir à Mont-Blanc, d'une capacité de stockage de 255 mètres cubes, le réservoir de service de la Martinière était insuffisant pour répondre à la demande croissante en eau dans la région. De plus, en raison de son usure et des fuites ont été constatées dans le réservoir. Un nouveau réservoir de service d'une capacité de stockage de 2000 mètres cubes a été construit à Mont-Blanc, situé en altitude. Il alimente donc directement en eau la Martinière, Suriname et une partie de Riambel.
The next question, the Honourable First Member for Montagne Blanche and Grande-Rivière-Sud.
Yes, thank you, Deputy Speaker. Sir, B316.
Mr. Deputy Speaker, the House may wish to note that an environmental impact assessment EI license was granted to Virgin Oil Company Mauritius Limited on 27 February 2006 for the setting up of a recycling facility for the refining of used lube oil at Montagne Blanche. The operation of the refinery plant started in the year 2012. I'm informed that no complaint has been registered at the level of my ministry with regard to hazardous and toxic air pollution emanating from that company. I'm further informed that the Environmental Health Engineering Unit of the Ministry of Health and Wellness has also not been made aware of any hazardous or toxic air pollution thereon. Mr. Deputy Speaker, however, I wish to inform the House that my ministry received one complaint on 21st January 2025 and two additional complaints on 7 March relating to other nuisance emanating from Virgin Oil Company Mauritius Limited. In view of the recurrent odor nuisance complaints received during the last 8 years, I'm informed that an additional condition relating to the submission of a detailed odor management and monitoring plan by the company to the Ministry of Health and Wellness was imposed in the EI license by my ministry on 5th of October 2021. In fact, these complaints have been jointly addressed through several site inspections in collaboration with the Ministry of Health and Wellness. Pursuant to Section 21 and 5th Schedule of the Environment Act 2024, the Ministry of Health and Wellness is an enforcing agency for odor nuisance. Mr. Deputy Speaker, I'm further informed that in line with conditions contained in the EI license, the Virgin Oil Company Mauritius Limited has implemented the following mitigating measures. The refinery plant is equipped with a wet scrubber. All equipment is enclosed in corrugated iron sheets, and ashoka trees have been planted around boundaries to Akali Green Belt. Mr. Speaker, an ambient air monitoring was also conducted on 3rd April by the National Environmental Laboratory of my ministry to assess the ambient air quality prevailing in the nearby residential areas located within Montagne Blanche, around 500 to 700 meters of Virgin Oil Company Mauritius Limited. Results revealed that toxic gases screened on all sites, namely ammonia, nitrogen dioxide, benzene, toluenes, hydrogen sulfide, and naphthalene, complied with the lowest observed adverse effect level limit, as specified by the United States Environment Protection Agency. Besides the measured concentration level of the parameter, total organic volatile compounds was compliant with the guidelines of the WHO. Mr. Deputy Speaker, I wish to inform the House that my ministry has promulgated the Environment Protection, Collection, Storage, Treatment, Use and Disposal of Waste Oil Regulation 2006 and is ensuring that the company abides to its provisions. My ministry will continue to monitor closely the situation and will take appropriate actions if required.
Okay, now the Honourable Third Member for Mayberg and Pelmagnon.
Mr. Deputy Speaker, sir, B318, please.
Honourable Mr. Housing.
Mr. Deputy Speaker, sir, I'm informed that there are three scenarios at Cité Lachaud, Mayberg, found on page géométrique Rivière Lachaud. First, there are two ex-CHA housing estates, namely Résidence Lachaud A and Résidence Lachaud B, comprising some 304 families who are owners of the ex-CHA housing units and are holders of state land leases or bonnets du forme over the plot of land on which stand their houses. Applications for renewal or transfer of leases and subdivision of the plot of land are processed by my ministry as and when received. Second, I'm informed by my ministry that 51 families who were squatting on state land adjoining Résidence Lachaud B housing estate and 3 families who were squatting on surplus of land within ex-CHA housing estates have been regularized and granted building site leases over the plots of land in 2005 and 2016, respectively. Mr. Deputy Speaker, I'm also informed that there are squatters on some plots of land, state land at Cité Lachaud, and officers of my ministry are carrying out a survey to assess the real situation on site and take any action as may be appropriate. Allow me at this juncture to point out that even though this is not within the scope of this question, officers of my ministry are indeed carrying out a survey to find out about the squatting situation, squatters in Mauritius, all over Mauritius, and in order to apprise oneself of the real situation nationally. As regards whether consideration will be given to amending the law to make the lessees owners of their plots of land, I wish to refer the Honourable Member to replies I made to the House, to PQB 38 and PQB 118 on the 4th of February 2025 and the 4th of March 2025 respectively, to the effect that pas géométriques are inalienable and imprescriptible. Consequently, the individual plots of state land at Cité Lachaud cannot be sold to occupiers as per Section 5 of the State Lands Act. Thank you.
Honourable members have been advised that B321, B354, B334, B339 has been withdrawn. So the next question is B323. Third member for Coachability and Record. 319. Okay, we'll come to 319. Sorry, wait. 319. If time allowed, then you will answer the next question. B319. B319, Honourable Third Member for Grand Bay, Poudredo. Of 319 has not been withdrawn. It has to be replied by the Minister of Public Service and that. That's 319. 319, please. 319.
Mr. Speaker, sir, may I please, first of all, thank the third member of Granby and Puerto d'Oro. Deputy Speaker, sir, with your permission, I will reply to this question on behalf of my colleague and friend, or Mr. Sports, Youth and Sports. I'm informed that on the 17th of December 2020, an MOU was signed between the then Minister of Youth Empowerment, Sports and Recreation and Ivaco Limited for the construction of a football ground, a pétanque court, an outdoor gym, a kids' corner, and related amenities and infrastructure on a plot of land of some 13,000 square meters, which is vested in the state ministry at Chemin 20 Pieds, Cap Malheureux. I'm further informed by Ivaco Limited that the football playground and fencing around the playground has been completed. The public is authorized to use the football playground. Temporary solar floodlights has also been installed for use of the playground in the evening. Deputy Speaker, sir, as per the provisions of the MOU, some infrastructural works, such as the construction of the changing rooms, administrative block and stands, though completed at 60%, are still pending. Provision is being made for the final phase of the project, which is currently at procurement stage, comprising of the following: provision of external lighting for football pitch, jogging track, kids playground, outdoor gym, boulodrome, external services network, footpath, roadworks and parking, and landscaping. The expected completion date of the project, Deputy Speaker, sir, is October 2025.
We have 2 minutes left. We'll go to the next question. Honorable third member for Parliamentary.
Too free. Be too free.
Yes.
Too free.
I thank the honourable member for putting the question. Mr. Speaker, Deputy Speaker, as regards Part A of the question, I've been informed by the Mauritius Cane Industry Authority that presently there are 35 operational agricultural machines and equipment available at the Agricultural Mechanization Unit, where 25 tractors are used for land preparation, 5 bell loaders are used for cane loading, and 1 roller is used for compaction. 1 hydraulic excavator is used for excavation and splitting of rocks and boulders, and 1 hydraulic excavator coupled with a cane cutter is used for cane harvesting. There are 27 machines that are not operational and have largely exceeded their lifetime. They cannot be repaired due to the high maintenance costs. They also represent safety hazard to users. These have been earmarked to be sold as scrap or used as spare parts for existing machines. With regard to Part A1 of the question, the number of machines currently being used for ploughing of land of small planters is 27, out of which 22 are crawler tractors and 5 pneumatic tractors. Regarding Part 2B of the question, the waiting time depends on the request of the planters, together with payment and signing of the contracts, and also depends on the month of the year when the planter undertakes the harvest. Land preparation is performed after the planter has harvested his field. The allocation of bulldozers is made according to a well-defined plan, normally according to regional grouping, while maintaining a first-come, first-served basis. notwithstanding the capacity of work that the unit can take. Many planters obtain the machine on time. In certain cases, due to breakdown of machines, heavy workload, or adverse climatic conditions, work are delayed and performed at later stage. However, there are cases where planters are reluctant to abide to the planning and complain when they do not obtain the required services immediately after having submitted their requests. As regards Part B of the question, I've been informed by the Mauritius Cane Industry Authority that 2 contracts were awarded last year for 3 D6 type crawler tractors and 2 agricultural pneumatic tractors with accessories. 1 crawler tractor has been delivered to the MCIA last week, and the remaining equipment will be delivered in May this year after completion of all administrative procedures and commissioning.
Okay. Just one question because time is already over.
Could the minister say, have some planters already paid since January, but till now, no, not yet done job. Some planters already paid for land preparation since January, and till now, no any work done.
But I can assure the honourable member that the matter will be looked into, addressed very forcefully, so that we can give satisfaction to one and all.
Honourable members have been advised that the following PQs has been withdrawn: B330, B333, B351, B352, B325, B324, B332, and B337. Time is over.
Motion.
Honourable Prime Minister.
Motionless.
No motion today.
Statement by ministers.
Statement by ministers. Honourable Prime Minister.
Yes, Mr. Deputy Speaker. With your permission, I'm making a statement on the executive order entitled Regulating Imports with a Reciprocal Tariff to Rectify Trade Practices that Contribute to Large and Persistent Annual United States Goods Trade Deficits, signed by President Trump on the 2nd of April of this year. President Trump invoked his authority under the International Emergency Economic Powers Act of 1977 to address the national emergency posed by the absence of reciprocity in the U.S. trade relationships and other harmful policies like currency manipulation and unfair trade practices. The executive order imposes a baseline 10% tariff on all imported goods as from the 5th of April of this year. The United States will also impose an individualized reciprocal higher tariff proportionate to the level of its trade deficit with that country as from 9th of April 2025. The executive order further states that these tariffs will remain in effect until such time as the President determines that the threat posed by the trade deficit and underlying non-reciprocal treatment is satisfied, resolved, or mitigated. Some products that are exempted from this policy are steel and aluminium, copper, pharmaceuticals, semiconductors, critical minerals, and energy products. Basically, all these goods are strategic for the United States, which explain their exclusion. It is our understanding, Mr. Deputy Speaker, that the calculation of the reciprocal tariff is based on the trade deficit incurred by the United States with Mauritius in 2024. In that year, Mauritius exported around $234.5 million of goods to the United States, while it imported only $48 million of goods. This results in a trade deficit of $186.5 million for the United States. The trade deficit as a percentage of Mauritius exports to the U.S. is estimated at 80%. Therefore, as per the U.S. calculation, the reciprocal tariff for Mauritius is 80%. However, this percentage was halved, and a discounted reciprocal tariff of 40% will be applied for our exports entering the United States market. The main products exported to the US include live primates, fish, sugar, textiles, and apparel. As soon as President Trump assumed office on the 20th of January 2025, he signed the America First Trade Policy Presidential Memorandum, which aims at undertaking a number of studies and proposing recommendations to address the persistent trade deficits, among others. In February 2025, the Office of the United States Trade Representative had requested public comments on unfair trade practices and non-reciprocal trade arrangements affecting the U.S. economy by the deadline of 11th of March 2025. Accordingly, Mauritius made a submission highlighting that the top 20 U.S. exports to Mauritius do not attract any tariff at all. The mutual benefits of AGWA was also underscored. On the 3rd of April 2025, the WTO Director General stated that many members had contacted the WTO regarding the potential impact of the tariffs on their economies and global trade. She expressed concern over the decline in trade and the risk of a tariff war driven by retaliatory measures. Highlighting the potential for significant trade diversion, she urged members to handle the resulting pressures responsibly to prevent escalating tensions. The executive order means, Mr. Deputy Speaker, that our exports of goods to the United States will now be subject to a tariff of 40%. This will be clearly highly detrimental to our economy. The U.S. is the fourth largest buyer of Mauritian goods. Some 41 export-oriented enterprises employing some 16,750 persons depend on the U.S. market. Being an AGWA-eligible country, Mauritius has been benefiting from duty-free market access for some 6,400 product lines on the U.S. market. Other AGWA-eligible countries like Lesotho, Botswana, and Madagascar will also face a tariff of varying between 50%, 37%, and 47%, respectively. The Ministry of Foreign Affairs had a meeting which included high-level representatives from various ministries as well as public and private sector stakeholders, namely the MCCI, the Sugar Syndicate, Business Mauritius, and MIGSA, with a view to charting the way forward and mitigating the fallouts on our economy. I have chaired 2 meetings with the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Regional Integration and International Trade, and the officers of the Ministry of Finance with the with the junior minister. The following course of action was agreed. 1, to discuss possible avenues with the United States at the bilateral and regional levels. 2, work with like-minded groups of countries, including AGWA, eligible countries as well as the African Union mission in Washington, D.C., with a view to devising a strategy to open up discussions with the United States. 3rd, to negotiate a bilateral trade agreement with the United States, which will provide the necessary predictability to our trading relations. A high-level committee has been set up by government to monitor the situation and liaise with all public, private, and foreign stakeholders, including the Corporate Council for Africa, that can work together to mitigate the fallouts from the U.S. executive order and ensure continued trade between Mauritius and the United States. Government will also engage with the U.S. as the executive order provides that reciprocal tariff can be modified if the country takes, and I quote, significant steps to remedy non-reciprocal trade arrangements and ally sufficiently with the United States on economic and national security matters, unquote. I'm also writing to President Trump with a view to discuss the concerns of Mauritius. Thank you.
Honorable Minister of Agri-Industry, Food Security, Blue Economy, and Fisheries. You have a statement? Yes. So the Minister of Social Integration, Social Security, and National Solidarity. You have a statement?
Yes, Mr. Deputy Speaker, sir. With your permission, I wish to make a statement on the secured bond investment made by the National Pensions Fund, NPF, and the National Savings Fund, NSF, in Whole Attitude Limited, a private company registered in Mauritius. This bond investment was made for a total amount of 1.45 billion on the 1st March 2022 and was due to be paid by the 30th of September 2024. I wish to inform the House that the bond investment has now been fully repaid to the tune of 1,618,214,214 rupees, the last payment being made on the 27th March 2025. This amount comprises of the following: capital amount due, 1,450,000,000 rupees. Interest due, 142,048,357 rupees. Interest penalty of 3% over applicable interest rate, 26,165,857 rupees. Mr. Deputy Speaker, sir, the House may wish to refer to my reply made to PQ B23 on the 10th December 2024, whereby I informed the House that the NPF-NSF Investment Committee had agreed to the extension of capital repayment of the bond issued by Whole Attitude Limited for an amount of 1,450,000,000 rupees from 30th September 2024 and 31st March 2025, but interest due was to be paid by the end of December 2024. Given that as at 31st December 2024, the interest due was not settled, the NPF-NSF Investment Committee on 28th January 2025 took the decision to trigger the event of default in accordance with Clause 9.1 of the Share Pledge Agreement and in conformity with the second schedule of the Notes Subscription Agreement, with the aim that by end of March 2025, the process of triggering the default will be completed. The NPF and NSF has embarked in this process by requesting a note holders meeting, which was held on the 6th March 2025, and thereafter, Whole Attitude Limited was requested to repay the capital, interest, and penalty on interest for a total amount of 1,618,214,214 rupees by 19th March 2025. It is to be noted that Whole Attitude Limited has pledged 40% of the shares it held in Attitude Hospitality Limited as collateral as part of the bond issue. On the 13th March 2025, a proposal was made by Société Anti-Stand, the major shareholder of Attitude Hospitality Limited, to buy 40% of Whole Attitude stake in Attitude Hospitality Limited through a share purchase agreement, and NPF and NSF would then be fully paid back by Société Anti-Stand at latest by 31st March 2025. Consequently, upon advice from the Attorney General Office on the 19th March 2025, the NPF-NSF Investment Committee agreed to the proposal made by Société Anti-Stand to buy the shares of Whole Attitude through a share purchase agreement, SPA, following which the NPF and NSF would receive all their dues, that is capital, interest plus penalty on interest due, for a total amount of 1,618,214,214 rupees by March 31st, 2025. Mr. Deputy Speaker, sir, it is to be pointed out that the proposal made by Société Anti-Stand to buy these shares of Whole Attitude was in accordance with the Constitution of Attitude Hospitality Limited, which provides for the shares to be offered for sale to the existing shareholders of Attitude Hospitality Limited, and only if they would refuse, then the shares would be sold to a third party. Mr. Deputy Speaker, sir, I wish to reiterate the commitment of this government to ensure that it is the interest of people, first and foremost, that guides the actions of government. In this particular matter, it is the safeguard of the contribution of workers of our Republic under both the National Pension Fund and National Savings Fund that has guided the action taken by my ministry. Mr. Deputy Speaker, sir, my ministry has acted in a fair, transparent and decisive manner to bring forward a rapid resolution to the recovery of funds invested by the National Pension Fund and National Savings Funds in the bond issued by Whole Attitude Limited. Thank you, Mr. Deputy Speaker, sir.
Public bills, first reading.
Honorable Prime Minister.
Mr. Deputy Speaker, I beg to move that the National Agency for Drug Control Bill number 6 of 2025 be read the first time.
Seconded. Madam Speaker will take the chair for the next meeting.
Yes, Dr. Boulel.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. With your permission, I move the Valley de Sterling and David Garden Foundation Repeal Bill, number 7 of 2007, be read the first time.
Yes, the motion needs to be seconded. Thank you.
Madam Speaker, I move the Repeal Bill, number 7 of 2007, be read the second time. The findings of the Office of Public Sector Governance are revealing. No responsible government can be indifferent to mismanagement. A technical committee was set up at the level of the ministry to assess all the financial implications and logistical means. It reached the conclusion that the best course of action is to transfer all activities of the Valley de Sterling and David Garden Foundation to the National Park Conservation Service. Consequently, the native terrestrial biodiversity and national park will be amended. Madam Speaker, I was Minister of Agro-Industry when I moved this bill in 2007. It is a body corporate and covers an area of 275 hectares of pristine forests comprising of endangered and indigenous plant species, an amazing garden with its rich flora and fauna. The management and administration of the garden should have been paramount. The Vallée de Stolog is a site where pink pigeons are displayed, and it will eventually become a release site for these birds. Beautiful parakeets fly over. The valley of beautiful birds indeed. The pink pigeon was brought from near extinction by Carl Jones, an ornithologist of world repute. It is a heaven and gateway to birders' paradise. It was Prime Minister Dr. Ramgoolam, and he was right to save another valley, that is the Valley de Fernier. Blessings indeed, otherwise a motorway would have cut across it. President Macron, his official visit, will plant the traditional tree at Sir Siusaga Ramgoolam Botanical Garden and will make the most of cultural heritage of the garden to consolidate the strong bond between our small island developing state, ocean state, and the Republic of France. Some will call it garden diplomacy. Madam Speaker, the newly appointed High Commissioner to London, a keen botanist and scientific, will re-establish contact between Royal Botanic Kew Garden, like-minded research centre, and the Vallée de Stolog endemic garden. Our best endeavour is to save endemic species. Training of staff and setting up of seed bank are vital. The valley is an attractive place, much sought after by natural lovers. The garden was centre for research, development, innovation, of learning for school children, and a randonnée for the wider public. A garden with a window to a majestic valley of great and exquisite beauty, wetlands, rivers, canals, cascades, glens, with amazing flora and fauna, making the young excited about something fundamental, primitive, and contact with nature. This is the place where you put the damn phone down. The foundation was financed initially by funding of the National Park Conservation Fund. Financing would have been self-financing would have been inevitable if it had been properly managed. Much hope was pinned on the board, comprising of 10 members. All the hopes and expectations were dashed as from 2015. Matters deteriorated at an incredible pace since 2016. The director wielded power with the ruthlessness unfit of a manager. It's a curse, and management has been abysmal, absolutely shocking. He's on a permanent and pensionable establishment of the foundation. Does he legitimately deserve any entitlement? Guilty of negligence and crime against nature, unbelievable and unbeatable unscrupulousness. Sometimes what is legal is not always legitimate. The then government acted irresponsibly and allowed descent into chaos. Management was topsy-turvy. Over the recent years, the foundation formulated three strategic plans, 2020-2022, 21-2026, 2022-27, merely an eyewash. No action plan was prepared for implementation. The director ruled with an iron fist, full of himself, and waged psychological warfare to undermine management, instill fear and morale of staff side. Vacant, unfunded posts of key positions such as technical manager, scientific manager, administrative manager, and a human resource manager, these posts were never filled. The 33 workers of the foundation are protected under the Workers' Rights Act of 2019. 28 out of the 33 are employed on a permanent and pensionable establishment of the foundation, including the director. 5 persons are employed on a temporary basis. They will, all except the director, be transferred to the National Park and Conservation Service on a permanent and pensionable establishment. Section 4.7 of the Savings and Transitional Provisions Clause of the bill make provision for the termination of his appointment upon commencement of the Foundation Bill Repeal Act. He will be paid his pension benefits, if any, in accordance with such pension schemes as may be applicable to him. The guy must go. As to procurement exercise, the Office of the Public Sector Governance had this to say. During the last procurement exercise held in April 2023, the APSO had issued tender documents to a supplier who was debarred by the Public Procurement Office from participating in public procurement from August 2021 to August 2024 for misconduct relating to submission of a bid, a case of no return, but aided and abetted by the indifference of an irresponsible regime. The inertia of the regime of Pravin Jagannath was a trademark, except when it had to put the hands in the tills and pockets of taxpayers. The decadent regime waited on the stroke of midnight to enlist the services of the Office of Public Sector Governance to conduct a thorough inquiry into the management of the Valley de Stella Endemic Garden Foundation. The findings of the report was submitted on the 16th October 2023, and the word pool featured prominently in the report. A cursory look of the report would send cold shivers down the spine over wastage, mismanagement, and fraudulent practices. The repeal of the Act is a strong signal. A detailed study of the Office of Public Sector Governance gives us every reason to introduce a program-based budgeting. And Prime Minister is right, no substitute for transparency, accountability, and governance. And there are lessons to be learned and drawn from the repeal of this Act. Madam Speaker, the laws and acts, if a regime is indifferent or insensitive and does not wage war aggressively on corruption. A responsible government is under the constant gaze of the watchful eyes of taxpayers. The audit report will no longer be a letter through the letterbox to be perused at leisure. Game over. This bill is a foretaste of the politics of program-based budgeting. The foundation has to be a jewel in the crown of Endemic Garden. It will be entrusted to the Conservation and Park Management Department of the Ministry. The Director of the Conservator has an obligation to restore this prized garden to its pristine environment. There is no retreat, no surrender on firm commitment. Section 10A on management and administration of the garden is the main thrust of the bill. The Director of the National Park and Conservation has taken firm commitment. We all have to live up to expectation of a nation which believes in tight scrutiny of sustainable environment. I have impressed upon the directors of the National Park and Conservation Service and Forestry not to look back but to draw lessons, to level up, and this is an opportunity which is knocking to revamp this centre, making it into a centre of repute. An endemic garden with a seed bank is as good as gold, and a joy for all, from scientific world to the mere mortal seeking solace from Mother Nature. It can be a potential for biodiversity carbon credit. With these words, Madam Speaker, I commend the bill to the House.
It again needs to be seconded. Thank you. Mr. Bagwan.
Merci, Madame la Présidente. Madame la Présidente, aujourd'hui, cet après-midi, nous débattons d'un texte de loi qu'on peut qualifier de fort symbolique par rapport à notre responsabilité intergénérationnelle. Madame la Vice-Présidente, un acte fort, concret et symbolique. Madame la Présidente, que lèguerons-nous à nos arrière-petits-enfants? Un grouillant centre financier et touristique, d'importantes réserves dans une grande banque internationale? Non, Madame la Présidente. Notre responsabilité envers les futures générations va bien au-delà de là. Nous devons laisser à nos enfants une planète qui leur permettrait tout au moins de bénéficier des mêmes conditions de vie que nous avions connues. Le contraire serait injuste, égoïste et à court terme. Madame la Présidente, nous voulons, à travers ces amendements, préparer le terrain pour quelque chose de plus grand, de plus fondamental, la reconnaissance du droit de la nature dans notre Constitution. C'est un changement de cap. Il ne s'agit plus de nettoyer ce qu'on salit, ce qui est élémentaire. Il ne s'agit pas seulement de protéger l'environnement, mais d'apprendre à respecter toutes les formes de vie se trouvant sur notre planète, les droits de la nature. Madame la Présidente, une vision forte et courageuse d'un gouvernement qui agit, un gouvernement du changement. Situé loin d'eau bleue, la vallée d'Austerlog est l'un des derniers sanctuaires de biodiversité encore préservés de notre île. La vallée d'Austerlog abrite une flore et une faune endémiques rares, avec au moins 67 espèces de plantes déjà identifiées. Parmi la grande diversité de plantes, certains portent des noms créoles malgré imagés, tels que bois casson, takamaka, bois corail, bois bouquet banané, langue de vache, bois de natte ou encore de bois margose. La vallée d'Austerlog est l'un des derniers refuges de la flore native de l'île. On ne le répétera jamais assez. Seulement 2% du territoire est couvert de forêts natives, principalement dans le sud-ouest. Le sud-est est sur certaines îles satellites. Avec 39% de plantes, 80% des oiseaux non marins, 80% des reptiles et 40% des chauves-souris considérés comme endémiques, Maurice, petit point perdu dans l'océan, un niveau élevé d'endémisme. Au point où le pays a été désigné par l'Union internationale pour la conservation de la nature comme un centre de diversité végétale. Et il fait même partie du hotspot de biodiversité de Madagascar et des îles de l'océan Indien. Madame la Présidente, une biodiversité unique, mais bien fragile, tellement fragile. Actuellement, 89% de la flore endémique mauricienne est considérée comme menacée. Et 61 espèces indigènes sont déjà classées comme éteintes. Le perroquet à large bec et 2 espèces de tortues géantes, comme on le dit dans le jargon, Asded azedodo. L'obsédant, bien sûr, le fait que la science travaille à faire renaître le dodo. Concernant les espèces végétales endémiques, 141 sont en danger critique. De nombreux efforts sont en cours, mais les défis restent énormes. La stratégie nationale pour la biodiversité a défini 5 objectifs stratégiques, dont l'établissement d'un réseau représentatif et viable des zones protégées. Parmi les 8 zones classées Protected Endemic Sanctuaries, PS, il y a justement le Vallée d'Austerlog. Tout comme l'île aux Aigrettes et les gorges de Rivière-Noire, ces sanctuaires endémiques sont des poches de vie. Ils abritent ce qu'il nous reste de biodiversité originelle. Ils sont les derniers bastions de forêts natives, le refuge des plantes et animaux endémiques, les poumons verts de notre avenir. Madame la Présidente, tout comme la protection, la conservation et la gestion des zones environnementales sensibles sont d'importance capitale pour le fonctionnement naturel de ces lieux et la viabilité du développement socio-économique du pays. Un comité que moi-même je préside avec le duo ministre Joanna Béranger, l'Environmentally Sensitive Areas Committee, qui se veut être une plateforme de coordination, facilitant la collaboration entre ministères, organismes et ONG concernés, contribuera à la protection et la préservation des zones écologiquement sensibles par le biais de politiques gouvernementales, de programmes ciblés et des initiatives stratégiques et de normes spécifiques. Le but, Madame la Présidente, est de préserver leurs intégrité et de maintenir leurs fonctions écologiques. Les disparités relevées dans les études précédentes portant sur 3 zones écologiquement sensibles, à savoir les marais côtiers, les zones humides d'altitude et les mangroves, font actuellement l'objet d'un travail de révision confié à un cabinet de consultants pour une durée de 6 mois. De plus, reconnaissant l'importance des zones écologiquement sensibles en tant que rempart naturel, protégeant à la fois la population et la biodiversité, le gouvernement s'engage à introduire une loi sur les zones écologiquement sensibles, en cohérence avec son programme. Cette loi servira de socle à un développement véritablement durable. À ce sujet, des consultations pour la révision de l'ébauche de l'ISB ont déjà démarré. Madame la Présidente, en abrogeant la loi qui encadrait jusque-là la fondation de la vallée d'Austerlitz et en transférant la gestion de la vallée au National Parks and Conservation Service, nous faisons un choix de bon sens. Le gouvernement n'a pas perdu le temps pour réagir et agir. Il a pris acte, comme l'a bien dit mon collègue, du rapport de l'Office of the Public Sector Governments qui a pointé du doigt un grave dysfonctionnement de la gouvernance de la vallée d'Austerlitz, déficit de leadership et mauvaise gestion, comme c'était la pratique sous l'ancien gouvernement MSM. Un constat qui ne pouvait être ignoré. Le NPCS est l'entité publique dédiée à la gestion de nos parcs nationaux. Son mandat par rapport à la biodiversité terrestre est clair: protéger, restaurer et sensibiliser. Il est donc tout à fait logique que l'administration de la vallée d'Austerlitz passe sous la loupe du National Parks and Conservation Service. Cependant, Madame la Présidente, ne nous voilons pas la face. La protection de la biodiversité n'est pas l'affaire d'une NPCS et celle du ministère de l'Environnement. Elle est à la fois la responsabilité environnementale et un enjeu économique et social majeur pour le pays, signifiant que tous, autorités nationales comme régionales et citoyens surtout, doivent se sentir concernés. 5 facteurs majeurs influent sur la biodiversité biologique. La conservation de milieux naturels en milieu artificiel est la cause principale de la destruction et du morcellement des écosystèmes. Les pollutions de l'air, du sol, de l'eau, mais aussi lumineuses et sonores, affectent tous les aspects de l'environnement. Par exemple, le plastique pollue les milieux et touche tous les organismes qui le peuplent. La surexploitation des ressources compromet gravement le fonctionnement des écosystèmes et leur renouvellement. Le changement climatique influe sur les cycles de vie de l'ensemble des êtres vivants. Il impacte également la répartition géographique des espèces dans la chaîne alimentaire. Les écosystèmes sont d'excellents thermomètres et des effets du changement climatique. Et leur gestion doit prendre en compte les évolutions constatées. L'introduction volontaire ou involontaire par l'homme d'espèces exotiques envahissantes, impacte tous les milieux et les territoires. Nos forêts, nos rivières, nos oiseaux, nos plantes endémiques auront droit à l'existence et la régénération et à la protection. Et la vallée d'Austerlitz, avec ses 275 hectares de biodiversité, jouera un rôle essentiel dans cette transition. Le nouveau cadre permettra la valorisation de la recherche scientifique, tant disparue, la formation des jeunes à l'écologie mauricienne, l'accueil du public dans le respect du vivant, la restauration des espèces menacées. Ce sanctuaire, que j'invite beaucoup parmi mes collègues d'aller visiter, deviendra un lieu de reconnexion, d'identité, où chacun pourra sentir qu'il fait partie de cette île, de cette nature et de ce tout fragile mais magnifique. Et j'inviterai mon collègue à organiser une visite pour les membres du Parlement avec vous à la tête.
Très bonne idée.
Madame la Présidente, protéger la nature, c'est penser l'avenir autrement. C'est défendre une autre idée de progrès fondée sur la justice écologique, la solidarité intergénérationnelle, la responsabilité collective. Vivre en harmonie avec la nature pour une meilleure santé et une meilleure qualité de vie. À travers les parcours de santé comme le yoga que j'avais moi-même initié en quelques années de cela, une vingtaine d'années de cela. Avec le ministère de l'Environnement, nous sommes en train de réhabiliter en ce moment. Je suis sûr que les amis de la circonscription numéro 2 seront partie prenante de cette réhabilitation. Nous voulons maintenir ce lien avec la nature et faire de la biophilie une passion de nos concitoyens. Alors aujourd'hui, Madame la Présidente, et je demande à mes collègues de voter ce texte de loi avec conviction, parce qu'il porte en lui plus qu'une réforme. Il porte une vision, une cohérence et une espérance, celle d'un pays qui prend soin de son vivant, celle d'un gouvernement qui agit, et celle d'une nation qui choisit la voie de la responsabilité, du respect, de l'avenir et de la nature. Je vous remercie.
Merci. Yes, Honorable Ms. Tani. Yes.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. We ecologists welcome this bill. We are very happy, which is a very rare phenomenon. While we await the inclusion of the rights of nature in our Constitution and the environmentally sensitive area bill, we applaud the government's commitment to protect the Valley of Australorp, a prime sanctuary indeed for our endangered endemic species. Madam Speaker, every Conservation Act is about protecting life, protecting nature, protecting our ecosystems that are currently under dire threat. We live now in the era of the Anthropocene, as we mention again and again. What is the Anthropocene? It is the era where man has crossed all planetary boundaries, heralding an era of uncertainty as to humanity's future. We have crossed all limits whereby the stratosphere could self-regulate. Man's industrial activities are now irreversibly altering the planet. The future is dark for future generations. We are currently experiencing the 6th mass extinction, and human life itself is at stake. Thus, when this government embraces its duty, its prime responsibility to protect nature during this era, we can but thank our decision makers to be guardians of life by protecting nature. With this bill, the government is laying the firm foundation for an eco-centric future. It is honoring its pledge to protect our fragile ecosystems as laid out in our government program. It is the ecocentric future we want. It is the ecocentric future we need. It is the ecocentric future we will continue to fight for with every fiber of our being. A responsible state, an ecologically conscious state, ready to invest in our ESAs, our environmentally sensitive areas, will pave the way for a whole nation to become custodians of nature. Let us be mindful of what being a custodian means. Among indigenous people across the world, the people who are foremost in the battle against the mass annihilation of our ecosystems. To be a custodian means to be a duty-bound, benevolent guardian. It does not involve the concept of ownership, which is a capitalist perversion of our relationship with nature. To be a guardian, to be a custodian, means to recognize our prime and sacred duty towards protecting nature. We do not own it. We take care of it with benevolence, with the humble knowledge that our survival depends on nature. The Valley of Astrolabe can indeed exemplify how Mauritians can be custodians, that is, benevolent guardians of nature. Thus, the public management of our ESAs may follow the model of custodianship as practiced by indigenous peoples across the world. May I remind the House of the rich, eco-conscious cultures of the Aborigines and Torres Strait Islander peoples from Australia, indigenous peoples to whom we are connected through a sacred rapport with nature. Our Indian Ocean history of cultural connections that precede European colonization link us with indigeneity across the oceanic rim. We carry within us our legacies of our ancestors, indigenous people, who were taken from their lands and whose connections with nature have always been sacred. To be a custodian means to protect the sanctity of nature and not to own it or use it for profiteering. Thus, the Valley of Astrolabe can be the model of how our citizens may be involved in the act of conservation through the sharpening of a collective sense of sacred responsibility towards our natural environment. We are hereby engaging with alternative epistemologies, a complex term to actually identify how we view the world from different perspectives other than European colonization. And natural intelligence, whereby we recognize alternative modes of being embedded in nature and central to indigeneity. We are hereby decolonizing our minds. It is the only way of saving the planet, the indigenous epistemology and mode of being with nature that will allow us to navigate the climate crisis and protect our ESAs, our homeland, and our planet as a whole. Madam Speaker, may I read from an indigenous poet, Tanaya Winder's poem on the indigenous sacred in nature. Stand with us as accomplices. Follow our lead, for we have always been well versed in survival. We were shaped by fire, made from lightning and dirt-covered hands that know when to ignite healing. Now is the time. Let us not drown in Mother Earth's tears. Mother Earth has a spirit, and she's asking us to listen. Indigenous people have always been custodians of planet Earth. This government is hereby following suit by shouldering responsibility towards protecting the Valley of Astrolabe, our prime ESA. To manage the Valley of Astrolabe with the people's participation will ensure that it is managed with sensitivity and understanding. It will be the model of how other ESAs across the island may be managed in an inclusive, participatory, and democratic manner. Additionally, through the provision made for scientific research, this bill ascertains that conservationist efforts may not only be based on local awareness, participation, and knowledge, but on the scientific contributions of experts, as was accomplished under the International Union for Conservation of Nature. Too often, Madam Speaker, we have witnessed the distress of conservationists in Mauritius, whose appeals have landed on deaf ears. May I refer to research accomplished by Professor Vincent Florence and his team on the ecological crisis we face in Mauritius. He has constantly drawn attention to how our indigenous forests are dying with proven scientific data. This bill bespeaks change by precisely foregrounding the need for scientific expertise, such as projects led by Professor Florence. Such scientific endeavors, we affirm, can operate in collaborative, inclusive, and democratic spheres with local people under the aegis of government-led initiatives. With this bill, Madam Speaker, we can initiate alternative economic models that revere nature, protect it, and protect life. The Valley of Austerloo is a prime ecological jewel. It incorporates unparalleled natural beauty, thrives with biodiversity, and has to be safeguarded with responsible and carefully managed ecotourism. The bill refers to recreational activities that may be organized within its midst. This government bears the utmost responsibility with instigating a form of carefully managed tourism so that our endemic species and biodiversity continue to flourish. This bill emphasizes the state's duty towards protecting biodiversity while identifying responsible economic models that will, in effect, shield our biodiversity from ongoing threat. To quote Vandana Shiva, biodiversity is the interconnectedness through which all life flows. Food and nutrition, water, oxygen, and breath, endosomatic energy, the energy of all living systems. We are strand in the web of life. Humans have been separated from nature through what I describe as eco-apartheid. Indeed, we have been disconnected from nature in a world of hyper-consumerism, the world of malls, shopping, and constant buying that has entailed generations entrapped in the endless pursuit of short-term false gratification. This sense of false gratification has been scientifically linked with higher rates of depression among contemporary generations. The Valley of Austerloo, a jewel to be protected by the state, by the people, for the people, with the people, will be the example of how we can disconnect from the mindless realm of consumption to a sphere focused on human well-being, to reconnect with nature, to protect it, and build alternative economic models centered on well-being of both humans and nature. Through the Valley of Austerloo, this government is breaking with a capitalist model that only identifies us as consumers, a model that dehumanizes us. This government recognizes our inherent human need, that is to reconnect with nature and retrieve our humanity. It centers on our rights to access our natural sites across Mauritius for our collective well-being. Our well-being, Madam Speaker, is dependent on biodiversity, as the COVID-19 pandemic demonstrated. This pandemic erupted from the disruption of natural ecosystems when a disease common among bats was transferred to human beings. Protecting our biodiversity is about protecting life, protecting humanity, and ensuring the planet has a future. David Attenborough affirms that for life to truly thrive, on this planet, there must be immense biodiversity. Only when billions of different individual organisms make the most of every resource and opportunity they encounter, and millions of species lead lives that interlock, so they sustain each other, can the planet run efficiently. The greater the biodiversity, the more secure will all life on Earth, including ourselves, be. Yet the way we humans are now living on Earth is sending biodiversity into a decline. To protect the Valley of Estelog is to protect biodiversity. It is to protect life. With this bill, we're demonstrating to our children how an eco-conscious government can work towards saving the future. This government is precisely living up to its pledge to uphold life. With these words, I commend the bill to the House. Thank you.
Yes, Minister, you have to do your...
Madam Speaker, since brevity is the soul of the wit, I shall be brief. We have had the pleasure to listen to two excellent speeches, and these speeches come from the inner recess of the heart. As Honorable Mrs. Tanu has stated, let us not drown in the tears of Mother Earth. And this bill is an SOS, saving our soil. And this is precisely what this responsible government is doing. And there has been no retreat, no surrender, and we've acted without fear or prejudice to save the Valley d'Estelog, Madam Speaker. I don't have to remind members of the House as to the findings of the Office of Public Sector Governance. And we have wasted no time to take corrective measures. And I have impressed upon the Director of the National Park and Conservation Service, now that the foundation has been entrusted to him, this is a garden, this is a jewel of our crown. He has to live up to expectation, and he has to deliver. So responsibilities are there, and they have to live up to expectation, because this is expectation not only of the House, but of the nation. So, Madam Speaker, our vision is that the service, together with its numerous partners, will be able to enhance the Valley d'Estelog and Living Garden and bring it to a standard to be recognized by our local community and the international community. With these words, Madam Speaker, I thank you very much.
I take it you again commend the bill to the House.
Speaker, I move that the bill be read the third time and pass. No, I'm sorry, I commend the bill draft. My apology, yeah.
And then it has to be
my apology, my apology.
It's all right.
Yeah.
We're all humans.
Yeah, I move that
You
I commend the bill to the House. I commend the bill to
Your
the House.
friend will second the bill, the motion, that it be commended to the House. Okay. The question is that the Valley d'Estelog Endemic Garden Foundation be read a second time. Those in favor say aye. Those against say no. The ayes have it.
Public Bill Committee stage.
Yes.
On connaît ça.
Oui, c'est bon, committee stage.
Clause 1, short title. Clause 2, repeal. Clause 3, consequential amendments. Clause 4, savings and transitional provisions.
The question is that clauses 1 to 4 stand part of the bill. Those in favor say aye. Those against say no. The ayes have it.
Title and enacting clause.
Question is that the title and enacting clause 10 part of the bill. Those in favour say aye, those against say no. The ayes have it. Now I put the final question is that I do report to the House that the Valley Dosterlog Endemic Garden Foundation repeal bill number 7 of 2025 has passed the committee stage without amendment. Those in favour say aye, those against say no. The ayes have it. Okay, I have to resume my seat. Please be seated. Honourable members, I have to report to the House that the Valley Dosterlog Endemic Garden Foundation Repeal Bill number 7 of 2035 has passed the committee stage without amendments.
Public Bill, third reading.
Madam Speaker, before I come to the third reading, let me first of all convey my apologies to you trying to rush the bill through.
Don't worry,
Yes.
we're all humans, as I said.
Thank you very much, Madam.
We want to be better humans, if I understand well.
Madam Speaker,
Yes.
I hope the bill be read the third time and pass.
Okay. Motion, as usual, needs to be seconded. The question is that the Valley Dosterlog Endemic Garden Foundation Bill be read the third time and passed. Those in favour say aye, those against say no. The ayes have it. Yes. Prime Minister, adjournment.
Yes, Madam Speaker, I beg to move for the adjournment of the House to Tuesday, the 15th of April at 11:30 a.m.
Thank you. The House stands adjourned. I have someone who has an adjournment matter. Yes,
Madam
go
the
ahead.
Speaker, allow me, with your permission, to raise a matter of urgent public importance addressed to the Honourable Minister of Agro-Industry, Food Security, Blue Economy and Fisheries, with regards to the delay in disbursing subsidies for the replantation of potato to the potato growers. Can the Honourable Minister do the needful to expedite matters to address this concern?
I'm not going to say apply today, yesterday reply, but I thank my honourable friend for raising the matter. I've taken the matter with the junior minister and the financial secretary. Matters are going to be expedited to give satisfaction to planters. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Minister. Yes.
Madam Speaker, my request is addressed to the Honourable Minister of Local Government. Will the Minister kindly state the measures taken by his ministry concerning the renovation works at the Bazaar du Flac and mention when is the work starting, please?
I will reply to him. I will reply.
J'ai rien compris. You will try to do the needful. Is that what you said?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Thank you, everybody.